What is going on? Welcome back to Jamming with the Johnsons.
And we are going to be doing a recap of Love is Blind Season 2, episodes 1 to 4. And yes, we did wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning to watch the whole episode drop. We are very excited. We are going to be doing couple by couple. So if you haven't watched episode 1 to 4, don't watch this because we don't want to ruin it for you.
So this is a spoiler alert because there is going to be plenty of spoilers in this. So come back once you've watched it.
Yes, exactly. So we'll start off, I guess, with Ashley and Billy. The funny thing is, Bobby had already predicted from the bios that Ashley and Billy were going to be a match, which kudos to you.
I guess it was just my spleen
guiding
me.
Spleen, yeah. If I hear that shit one more time, I am going to crash out.
But yeah, I kind of picked up on it in the bio because you will find little clues. Obviously, that was a little Easter egg that Netflix put in there because Ashley had mentioned that she used to be an army cadet. Just put 2 and 2 together.
Episode 1. Ashley seems like she's all in. She's very giddy, has a very positive aura about her.
What I really loved is that she is throwing herself in fully to the experiment. You can tell that she's like seriously looking to find someone and to hopefully marry someone. So I think that's quite clear to see, isn't it?
I'm glad that he spoke about, his divorce 5 years ago. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but he said, if he does get married, it's going to be the last time. Would this be a barrier potentially in the future? And so maybe he's apprehensive to jump into a marriage because he wants it to be the very last time.
Unless he's like, which it should be anyway, like 1,000% sure.
Yeah.
But I really love the fact that he, coming from a military background, it's so refreshing to see a man that's still currently serving in the military by the sounds of it, that is just so open, so vulnerable, not afraid to get deep and in his feelings. So I wasn't really expecting that from Billy, but so refreshing to see, and such a nice couple. Like,
I also want to point out his lovely tattoo.
You loved it.
It's like a Michael Bublé reference, like the music notes of a Michael Bublé song.
I haven't met her yet,
just haven't met you yet.
Yeah. And then he was like, once I do meet her, then, I'll put the name there because then I have met you.
Yeah.
Or now.
Yeah. And then moving on to the obstacles that they face. So he discusses his concerns regarding Ashley being cabin crew. He's dated a cabin crew in the past. I used to be cabin crew, so I completely understand where his apprehension comes from. She kind of quickly said, there's not going to be any issues. There would be options for me to go on ground and do like a 9-to-5 job. Another thing that stood out to me, he lives in Northern Ireland, she lives in Surrey. Will there be any potential long distance issues there? I don't know. Possibly. But they didn't discuss that. We didn't see them discuss that in the
They
pod.
might have done, maybe it just wasn't shown. But I guess he's right in his thinking, sort of, one, they live in different countries. And 2, obviously, at this time of filming, she's an air hostess. She's cabin crew. So you can see where his thinking was coming. Like, how is it going to work? Obviously, he's in the military as well. So all in all, it's like quite a lot of obstacles. But I do love the fact that they overcome it pretty quickly.
Also had like a very funny day where they were wearing like cowboy hats and doing like what's it called, side step?
It was like line dancing, wasn't it?
Line dancing, that's it. If white people dancing was
British
everything,
thing, wasn't it?
That's American.
Line dancing, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought that was a very cute day. I feel like what I'm getting from their dynamic is that Ashley's very much the golden retriever, and he's more like the black cat. Very, I wouldn't say reserved. He's very open and very, very vulnerable, but he's more so a bit more kind of low key in comparison to Ashley, who's very bright, vibrant, which, you can tell from her job. She has to be social. She, is around people. It's a people-facing role. So I could completely understand that.
And she's not afraid to say, this is what I want. This is how I feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's helping him, actually maybe
Open
overcome a few of his inner barriers. So it's nice. They go together really well.
I like the fact that on their third date, they talked about Ashley, she started paying bills when she was 16 years old. And now she wants someone to look after her. And Billy kind of seems to me as quite a traditional type of person. I don't know if you would agree.
I kind of get that vibe. So then we move on to their proposal, which was super sweet. Obviously, they get into the pods, they sit down. Ashley just tells Billy how grateful she is, how happy she is to have come in the experiment and met somebody like him, so kind, so caring, all the nice words.
All the nice words. And then we move on to their reveal. Their reveal was like as good as a reveal could get. They had great chemistry. They seemed like they were very attracted to one another.
Kissing,
touching.
They were like all over each other.
Yeah, and then we move on to the retreat. We see them in the retreat. And that relationship kind of flourishes throughout. She talks to the girls about them saying, I love you. Katisha was not on board when they were discussing that, but like Bada was on board in regards to Ashley talking about how much she loves Billy. And they seem like they are very touchy-feely. Like he said, he loves the fact that she's very physical with him. It's giving, you know, physical touch vibes. We may see in future episodes about the distance thing.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to come up because it hasn't yet. I think it has to come up at some point. So whether they're going to be able to overcome that, time shall tell. Kind of looks like Ashley is like everyone's sort of ear person to lean on, because it seems
advice.
Like a lot of people seem to go to Ashley for advice. And she gives a lot of really nice, good, solid advice, and she's very supportive. So that's good to see.
So I think both of them really came across very well.
Yeah.
And we move on to the second couple. We've got a triangle. It is Kieran, Meg, and Sophie. So we see a date with Kieran and Sophie. They have chemistry straight away. He likes her wit.
Yeah, she's very much like, this is me. A little bit standoffish.
Yeah.
In terms of who she is emotionally. She's quite guarded in that sense, but they did have a good laugh, and they hit it off right away. But obviously, as we see later on, it kind of hits a bit of a standstill. She's not ready to open up.
One thing I realized with Kieran, he's such a good communicator. He's asking all the right questions. And I feel like when you are going into this experiment, if you are genuinely looking for someone to spend the rest of your life with, you need to ask those hard questions. So when she wasn't really giving much back, it was quite frustrating to watch. But then later on in the episodes, you could see her opening up on why she is such an ice queen. It's because her mum had basically chosen a partner over her. So it makes sense.
But I think the issue is in an experiment like this, I mean, you can clearly see Kieran's put a lot of thought into this before he's come into it. You know, he's obviously very serious about meeting someone. He's asking all the right questions, as you say, he's communicating really well. But I think with Sophie, as much as you can see there's reasons why she struggles to open up, I think in an experiment like this, you don't have time to sort of
to do your healing,
let people break down your barriers like you would in the outside world, where people can take up, because there's other people going to be, you know, as we see, there's a triangle, and Meg's a lot more open. So I think you just don't have time. This experiment is about speed. You know, you've got a week or 2 weeks to get to know someone.
I'll be honest, I feel like this triangle wasn't really triangling, because at the end of the day, whenever you'd see Meg and Kieran together, you can see there was an instant spark. They were both very vulnerable in regards to she was speaking about her dad, her relationship with her dad, and he was talking about his relationship with his mum, and how they kind of lacked those figures in their lives. With
Sophie and Kieran, we didn't really see any of that. We didn't really see them too much depth in that sense. It was just more of a surface level connection. Maybe in Sophie's mind, I think she's used to probably being quite guarded. So for her, it was probably like, I'm opening up a lot more than I normally do. But you can see it still wasn't enough for Kieran, and there's a lot of frustration there. So I think in her mind, it was maybe a lot deeper than it actually was. Whereas for him, you could see he was always kind of leaning towards Meg.
Yeah, what made me laugh, right, is that when Kieran gave Meg the Japanese ornament, and she came in, and you know what? No knock at her, because at the end of the day, you're there for yourself, and you're there to find a husband. So if she was kind of like, you know, screaming while she was going into the lounge, she was happy, and that's your moment to be happy. I feel like that's a massive gesture, and in her mind, he had already locked it off, because you wouldn't be doing those gestures if, you know, you hadn't made your mind up. So I think at that moment in time, he had already made his mind up by giving her the ornament. But then Sophie said, you know, he gave her like a Japanese thing.
And you could just see her like side-eyeing, watching it all happen. And it's not easy, is it?
It's not.
When, you know, there's someone there that you really like, and then you see that they've just certified it and marked it off. But I don't think Kieran and Meg did anything wrong.
No, I don't think so. And I wasn't really shocked that he chose Meg over Sophie.
No.
And then we move on to their engagement. I thought it was a beautiful engagement.
Put together some really nice words, didn't they?
So, like what I wrote during Kieran and Meg's engagement was, you know, it was deep, there was depth, it was emotional, you know, ticks all the way. I love them. I really
That's
do.
What I love about them too. Yeah, they have everything really. So it's just a really nice love story to watch. So far up to this point.
Yeah, and then moving on to their reveal, they had like an amazing reveal. You could see sexual tension there, lots of kissing, which we love to see. I've got some high hopes for them.
Yeah, you could see they're definitely attracted to each other.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They were both just like, damn, this is what I've got. They were happy with what they got. And then Meg's like, oh, did you know I was a redhead? And he's like, no, but I love that.
I love that. Yeah. And then when they go on to the retreat, they're actually filming it in, where is it?
It's
Cyprus.
in Cyprus, so an island off of a Greek island.
Yeah.
We were in Corfu. Weren't we?
Yeah. So they go to the retreat in Cyprus, and I feel like their connection just kind of copy paste of like Billy and Ashley. He says that there's lots of sexual chemistry between the two. They seem like they're having fun in the pool. They are one of the kind of like unbothered couples where they're not really getting into too much drama and it's going smoothly.
But we do see a little clip in the next episodes where Sophie comes back into the mixer and it looks like Kieran's chatting to her, which is normal. I mean, it's someone that you've had a connection with. But then we see right at the end, Meg says something like, you know, don't lie to me. Whether she's talking to Kieran or she's talking to...
I think she was talking to Javin.
Yeah, maybe. It looked, the edit made it look like it was Javin because they flashed onto Javin after she said it. But we don't see like a zoomed out shot where you can see them both in the picture. So we don't actually know who she's talking to.
Yeah.
We'll find out, I guess.
But you can also see Javin speaking to Sophie and them flirting a little bit. So, but we'll get to Javin and Katisha later on. You know, I have a good feeling they're going to go all the way.
So yes from me. But is it going to be yes from them?
I feel like
yeah.
All right, next up we have Serova and Cal. Serova says that she wants a Asian Zac Efron. Is Cal that? 1,000,000%. He reminds you of Troy Bolton from High School Musical. He is giving the Zac Efron Asian version. So we realized that Serova's Indian, but Cal is actually half English, half Pakistani. They discussed, you know, kind of the conflict between India and Pakistan.
And shout out to casting for like having such a like cultural cast. You know, we've got so many different nationalities, ethnicities, cultures.
But what I will say is I wish they would have done that on our season because we did have lots of culture and ethnicities, and it's a shame that they didn't showcase that.
About as much,
it wasn't, because I feel like when we talk about the UK, it's a melting pot of cultures, and they're doing it right this time round, which is good.
Yeah, but obviously Cal and Serova, they spoke about obviously Indian, Pakistani, and the sometimes the clash that can happen in terms of families, and you know, maybe having issues down the line in terms of, Cal was asking Serova whether her family might object to her being with him. Yeah. But then he didn't really speak about his family. Yeah. And how they would react. And I thought that was quite interesting. She's Indian, and her family going to maybe object to her dating and marrying him. What do you make of that?
Her parents, her grandparents have actually apologized to her and have encouraged her to be more open in regards to dating other cultures. So I don't see it as a potential conflict. I have seen in the trailers that Cal's brother had expressed some concerns regarding it working. So I don't know whether there would be some issues on his side of the family. We're going to have to wait and see. The proposal was really cute. I love the fact that he calls her princess. It's kind of like an Aladdin and Princess Jasmine moment between the two of them. Do you know what I mean?
It's so nice.
Very kind of like a prim and proper type of gal. And he's more like, you know...
And he seems like Aladdin. He wants to... Well, I think he mentioned, didn't he? He's used to being with a girl who, like, you know, he takes care of, because he wants to be the man. I think he wants to lead, but then he said it was really it's different, but he was impressed by the fact that, you know, she has a really good career. Yeah. She's got a lot of things going on. He was like, we could be a force to be reckoned with, or something like that. Yeah, to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Did they both?
Yeah, they both touched the glass.
They both touched the glass. I love a touch of the glass.
The reveal was super sweet because he wore, like, I'm assuming it was traditional Indian attire. And I thought it was the cutest thing I have ever seen. Then we move on to the retreats between Serova and Cal. Cal's spoken about his usual type, which is blonde girls with blue eyes. And Serova tells him that her type is him.
Yeah, and I guess that's interesting. And look, the whole point of the experiment is sometimes, you know, you're going for something that's different to your ordinary, because, you know, why be in the experiment in the first place? If you already know exactly what your type is and you're only going to go for that, then you know, you might as well go and date in the physical world. So I guess that's normal that she's not necessarily his usual type, but it seems like he's still open to exploring it further. And
I liked seeing a side to Serova where she was open about her insecurities. She spoke about Ashley and Bada being blonde with blue eyes and how that could potentially make her feel a little bit insecure. I liked seeing that side of her because she is very prim and proper, isn't she? So seeing that vulnerable side to her, I really liked. It was good to see Ashley giving her a pep talk, you know, to not self-sabotage. What did you think of Cal and Bada sitting poolside?
Because I mean,
then her moving in between them.
Yeah, because you could see that Sarova was sort of looking over her shoulder and seeing them kind of chat. And it just looked like a friendly chat. But obviously, you could see that it was bothering her a little bit. So I think, she did the right thing. Just go over there, put yourself in the middle.
That's what I would have done. But Bada was very respectful. She said, where are we going? Like, shall I move? And he's like, no, just stay, it's fine. I really like them. I feel like they will go far. Whether they'll say yes or no, I'm not 100% sure. Now we go on to Javin, Katisha, and Deola.
Another triangle.
Another triangle, the second triangle of the season so far. What are your thoughts? Because I'll be honest, the triangle was also not triangling for me. There wasn't much chemistry between Katisha and both the guys. Deola was very much, kind of professing his love majority of the episode, giving her a beautiful poem that was so cute. Being intentional with his actions in the pod. You could see a little bit of chemistry, but it didn't give me butterflies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he was very intentional. This is what I want. I'm ready for it. This is what I'm looking for. I think she liked that level of reassurance, but whether it happened and we don't see it or it just wasn't there. But yeah, you couldn't see like sparks flying at least. Yeah, it wasn't electric.
Even in the proposal, Katisha had made a decision to go with Deola, and then she had a date with Javin, and she backtracked and broke up with Deola and chose Javin instead. Yeah,
that was a bit out there, wasn't it? Because obviously she'd been getting to know both of them, but it seemed like, I think initially Javin was very reserved, guarded, didn't really, throw himself into it fully.
He was there for vibes. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, he wasn't that deep. And he hadn't really professed his love or, he didn't really say how into her he actually was, whereas Deola did. I think as soon as Javin kind of found out, like, oh, shit, I'm about to lose my girl, then all of a sudden, I think, like he said, should we get up and leave? Or, he just kind of slid, or should we just, hang out and sip our drinks? And then when they started sipping their drinks, he, got back in there and started doing a bit of work. And got her back on board.
Yeah, but one thing I will say, like with the proposal, I guess, he wasn't ready for the proposal, and you can kind of tell that. You mentioned it yourself.
Yeah, he just went in completely, just like winged it. But it looked like he didn't even plan on winging it. He didn't even know he was going to do it in the first place. It was just like, oh, I'm here now. Like, why not? Katisha, she does seem a little bit confused in terms of what she actually wants and is looking for.
I mean, we see them in the reveal, and it seems like they do have a lot of physical chemistry. But then we see them in the retreat, and Katisha talks about how she's a bit apprehensive throwing out the L word. So it seems like she's a bit on the fence. He seems like he's just vibing. He's just happy to be there.
Because he even said, oh, she doesn't really feel like my fiance. It feels just like
my
boyfriend and girlfriend.
Right, okay.
So it's like, how serious?
Yeah, and then you also see in the upcoming trailer, we've mentioned before, that he's kind of, flirting with Sophie a little bit. And then Katisha.
Yeah, because he says, oh, what did he say? Like, you're naughty or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Don't quote me word for word, obviously, but something along those lines.
Something along those lines. And then you also see Deola and Katisha meeting for the first time as well. So, yeah, I think all in all, I think we all know Javin and Katisha are not going to get married. I feel like my prediction is they are going to break up in the apartment stage.
You wonder if her and Deola are going to rekindle in the mixer.
I'll be honest, I don't think so.
No.
I think they're just going to meet up, see each other in person, but I don't see them going the distance either. Next up, we have Anu and Patrick, Mr. Spleen.
From those two, it's kind of a strange one.
Yeah.
Because I struggle to really see where the connection is. A lot of the things that they connect on are just things that they're arguing about or disagree on.
Yeah.
Obviously, he says he's very spiritual, and she says that she comes from a religious background. A faith's really important to her. So I guess they sort of connected on that. At least, but it's different. These are two different things. But then they seem to disagree on a lot of stuff, and you could see a lot of like head shaking between them both, and it's like, where's the actual connection? Like, what do they actually like about each other?
Yeah, save your time, guys. I feel like they never had a connection. They will never have a connection. They, had a little bit of a connection in regards to culture. He's Nigerian background. She has a Nigerian background as well. He lived in Nigeria. But apart from that, I mean, I wasn't really too comfortable with him kind of asking her, can you sing for me? Can you sing for me? No. It's like your mum telling you in front of family members, like, this is a Filipino thing, but like your mum telling you, go on, Jasmine, can you sing for your auntie? He's like, no, I'm not going to sing. Like, that.
He kind of put her on the spot, and she was like, and it seems like for him, because obviously he's all about like feeling and
splenic and
and feeling. Like, he was like, because she didn't sing, all of a sudden that set something off in his spleen where he's like, it must not be right then because she wouldn't sing for me. I don't know. I've never heard of this splenic sort of, follow your spleen and all that sort of stuff. But it seems like that's his guidance.
I think that's his bag, and he wants to advertise that as much as possible.
Yeah.
You might be a good guy in person, Patrick, but like that's what it was giving.
Who are you?
Like, I don't know.
And you didn't really get deep emotionally, didn't really open up that much.
And for a spiritual person, maybe it's the edit, but for a spiritual person, you'd think he'd go deeper in his conversations.
It's quite logical with his conversations.
Very logical.
Someone that was, say, spiritual, you'd expect more emotion.
More depth.
Yeah, more depth. Obviously, Anu didn't have a song prepared and wasn't ready to sing, and she felt a little bit like you put me on the spot. But then, that same night, she'd gone back. Obviously, had a sit down, and she got inspired. Whether it was the spleen that inspired her, or I don't know, but she got inspired and she wrote something and came back, and then was like, "Okay, ready to sing.
Do you want to hear my little song?
You want to hear my little song?" And he was like, but obviously she can't see him. We can see both of them. And he's like,
awkward.
He's like, oh man. And she's there like, about to sing my song.
Open my heart up to you.
Yeah, and he's like, about that. And then she's like, so you want to hear my cheeky song?
Yeah.
And I shouldn't laugh, but I did laugh because it was funny.
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of harsh because
I think it's super harsh.
She put a lot of work into it, and he asked us to sing the day before, so it was a bit confusing. Like, no, I don't want you to sing anymore because you wouldn't do it yesterday.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And also the date prior, he was saying, that he had planned to propose to her. And also, I feel like if you were spiritual, you would be kind of emotionally intelligent to give that person space. That person is saying that they've written a song about you and wants to sing. How horrible must that feel if they've spent all that time preparing a song for you, and all you're saying is, don't worry about it.
When
it's
you
too
put
late.
all that pressure on them in the first place to sing,
it just puts a very bitter taste in my mouth. I feel bad for her.
Was really weird.
Yeah,
like their whole relationship from start to finish for me was quite strange,
uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah,
and he needs to get with a footballer who's like 6'4", manly man, got a bit about him.
Ex Crystal Palace player.
Maybe you never know. Next up we have Bada and Jad. Not trying to be biased or anything, like Bada and Jad are one of my favorite couples.
Yeah, they're solid.
I love them. They remind me of us.
Yeah, because they're like very unproblematic at the moment, aren't they? Just easy. When I say easy, just easy going. They both know what they want. Yes. It's just no problems, no
family
arguments.
oriented.
It just fits together very well.
As soon as Jed opened his mouth, this man is an Essex boy through and through, brother. Like the way he talks, even like his aura, he's very much like an alpha male, very traditional values. Yeah. I
like that about him as well. He's very traditional. He's looking, to take care of his woman, take care of his family.
First date that they had was they discussed about Bada moving to the UK from Kosovo, but she's actually Albanian, and her family are Muslim. And with Jed, that wasn't a problem at all, which is absolutely great. He's accepting of that because his father is Muslim also.
And he's Lebanese.
Yes.
Yeah. So amazing. That's so much culture going on in that relationship as well.
I love it. And I love the fact that they spoke about babies very early on, and he said, something along the lines of, imagine having Lebanese and Albanian babies, like how cute they would be.
And he keeps talking about this Lebanese Sunday roast with hummus. Like, I've got to try that.
That sounds really good. One of their dates as well, they spoke about tattoos, and he said he would get a tattoo once he has, children and a wife. And she seemed to really, really love that. And then he proposes to her.
A really nice proposal.
Yeah.
Knew what he wanted and just went and got it. And she was like, yeah, hell yes, let's do it. Not in those words. And then that was it. They move on to the reveal. Yeah.
And one thing I would like to say is they have great conversation chemistry. They just bounce off each other very easily. Now we move on to the reveal. He picks her up. Oh my goodness.
He's tall, isn't he?
He looks really tall, and she looks like a nice petite. She's a petite babe. So I love the fact that he picked her up. They really look like they're into each other. They do. They do.
Very nice reveal. We got plenty of kissing.
I feel like all the reveals were great this season. It wasn't like a repeat of our season.
It's difficult to watch this and like really dislike or pick anything wrong with any of the couples. Everyone's just really likable, and it's just a yeah, they did really well with casting, at least so far up to this point, because everything's going very smooth, almost too smooth. It's like something's got to be coming soon, isn't it?
So anyway, we move on to the retreat. They seem like, you know, they're connecting very well. You know, I don't really have much to say about that. She speaks about, you know, falling in love with him and then being very open about saying I love you to one another. So it's looking very promising between the two of them. However, you do see in the trailer that Bada discusses a argument that she's had with Jed. She also talks about wanting to take more of a kind of like a lead role.
That was it. She said to so Bada said to Jed, "Let me lead," and he said something along the lines of, "It just doesn't, that won't work with me," because, you know, he's a very manly man, very traditional. He wants to lead. He wants to be the protector, provider. So then it looks like they're clashing a little bit on who's really going to take that role.
And I think that aligns with his culture. I think Lebanese men are very much like, you know, man of the household, you know, let me lead. Whereas with, you know, Albanian women, they're very strong. They're very fiery women. They're career women. She's, you know, I think, got the highest position in her company. So, you know, I think it would come natural to her to want to lead in some aspects. So it could be quite a little bit of a power struggle there. I know that they do end up in the altar because you see her in a wedding dress and you see him walking down the aisle. Whether or not they'll say yes, I will go for more of a no.
I'm going to say yes.
So a little clip of her running to her family and crying with her wedding dress on and her veil. So that's kind of making me think,
Can I take back my answer? No, I'm going to stick with yes, because sometimes, you know, you could be fooled by the edits, by the little trailers and the snippets. So I'm going to go with yes, but it's going to be interesting to see how they maneuver the dynamic.
But I did really enjoy. I wish I would have seen more of their dates in the pods, because I felt that giddiness. I felt that excitement when watching them. I knew they were going to have that chemistry when, you know, they met in the reveal. So it's a shame that we didn't get to see more of that.
I guess because they were unproblematic, which is always a good thing.
It's always a good sign. That is the end of our episodes 1 to 4 of Love is Blind UK Season 2 recap. We will be back next week for the second drop of episodes. We're also attending the reunion, which is, you know, a little sneak peek for you guys. We can't wait for that. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let us know what your opinions are in regards, because it's always nice to see other people's points of views.
Because we have some interesting dynamics coming up. Obviously, we have retreats, so we're going to watch all the retreats, see how that plays out. Then we're going to have apartments, and then we're going to have
family meets.
Family meets and
bachelorette.
Bachelorette party. So there's a lot of things still to come.
So let's close off this video. I'm Jasmine,
and I'm Bobby,
and we are
jamming with the Johnsons, baby.